Welcome to another episode of Roll Up a Power. So get your blunts rolled and your drink poured. Alright, now what we here on today, Mr. Roll Up? Teen sentenced to life in prison for school shooting. Hold up. Before I go into this, you know what I'm saying? Yes, this gonna be a little derailment from the parole hearings. But I'm about to get right back to it. I just gotta throw this in the mix. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna make this make sense. Let's get into it.
Sentenced a 16-year-old to life in prison for the 2024 murder of a student inside Joppatown High School. Alexa Ashwell is live outside the Harford County Circuit Courthouse with reaction. Alexa. Maxine, defendant Jalen Prince has been sentenced to a total of 80 years in prison in connection to the murder of Warren Grant. Silence inside the courtroom here inside Harford County Circuit Court as a judge sentenced Jalen Prince for the murder of fellow Joppatown High School student 15-year-old Warren Grant, a total of 80 years. Count 1, first-degree murder, the judge sentencing Prince to life, suspending all but 75 years in prison. And count 2, use of a firearm and commission of a crime of violence, 20 years, suspend all but 5 years, to be served consecutively, meaning after the count 1 sentence, followed by 5 years supervised probation. We're happy with the result. It's a substantial sentence. The Harford County State's Attorney following the sentence. We ask for short sentences for any violent crime, but most specifically, we just cannot have our children going to schools and not being safe, and we cannot tolerate gun violence in schools, and we will not tolerate that here, which is why, we asked for the sentence that we did in this case. Back in May, a jury convicted Prince of the first-degree murder of Warren Grant back in September 2024. Investigators say an argument over a girl inside the bathroom ended with Prince pulling out a gun from his backpack and fatally shooting Grant. Inside court, victim impact statements were read from nearly a dozen family and friends of Grant, including his father. The state's attorney arguing Prince was not able to be rehabilitated, highlighting his record with the Harford County Public School System, at least 18 incidents, including assaults, and more than a dozen incidents at Charles Hickey School, run by DJS, before and after his murder trial. He has this long-standing history of violence that we've seen in the school system, and then when we got the records and saw that he is still continuing this pattern of violence all the way up to the trial, after the trial, just that it wasn't stopping, and we heard in there that the defense mentioned all these programs that he's done, but it doesn't seem that those programs have helped because he's still engaging in violent conduct. The defense also reading statements from character witnesses, including Prince's former coaches and mother. His attorney maintaining he didn't intend to kill Grant and the gun went off, and he's since earned his GED and completed numerous programs. Prince also addressing the court, expressing his condolences to anyone affected. The judge calling Prince a significant risk to public safety, sentencing him to a total of 80 years. The state's attorney highlighting because Prince is a juvenile, he's not eligible for life without parole and will likely serve at least 40 years. And in court, Prince's attorney advising him he has 30 days to file an appeal, which she has done and will do on his behalf. Reporting live in Harford County, Alexa Ashwell, Fox 45 News.
All right. Now, with all that being said, Mr. Roll Up, what you got to say before I get to going? Ciroc Boy is in the building. Yeah, Ciroc about to sponsor this video. How about that? Well, dang, Mr. Roll Up, half of it is gone already. Well, as y'all know, yesterday was Sweetest Day. How about that? And Sweetest Day is for the men. So one of my little bops came through and blessed me with a bottle. You know what I'm saying? I drunk half that shit last night, and now we about to go ahead and finish this shit up. How about that? Damn, Mr. Roller, you just gonna naked out the bottle? Yes. How about that? I lost my cup last night. I got the pop of my shit, and I don't know what the fuck happened to it. How about that? All right, now, let's start from the top. This 16-year-old boy, which was a badass, as we know. They said he had what, 18 basically like write-ups and shit. Like he was a badass kid. You know what I'm saying? Like this is record. This public record. He been getting in trouble. This ain't his first rodeo. He been getting in trouble. You know what I'm saying? Um, Long story short, he brought a gun to school and he got into it with this 15-year-old boy as they were showing. You know what I'm saying? This is out in Baltimore, you know. But anyway, he comes to school with the gun. He in the boys' bathroom. They in the boys' bathroom arguing with each other about a girl, right? The 16-year-old pull out a gun, shoot him, boom, killed him right there in the damn bathroom, in the school bathroom, during school hours, all that. Pull the gun out and kill him, right? All over an argument about a girl. Well, now he in prison. He go to jail. He probably thinking they gonna be lenient on him because he's 16, because he's a child. He probably thinking he gonna get that juvenile lifer thing and be out in a couple of years. Well, this is the reason why I had to cut the parole hearing and do this video right here. You know what I'm saying? No, I ain't known about this video or none of that. It popped up in my feed and I watched it. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't planning on doing a reaction to this, but it popped up in my feed and I watched it. And I was like, you know what? I need to go ahead and throw this in the mix. Why is that, Mr. Roll Up? We doing good with the parole hearings. Why are you switching it off and doing this? Well, it's still relating to jail anyway. It might not necessarily be a parole hearing, but it's still relating to prison. You know what I'm saying? And I want all of the YNs to tap in. How about that? Tap in. Tap the fuck in. And guess what? To all the gangsters, the seasoned vets, and everything that's on the channel, you know what I'm saying? Y'all tune in too. But I need the YNs to hear this one. You know what I'm saying? How about that? And I'm out that drink. I'm about to get in y'all ass. How about that? All right. Now, what you guys say about this, Mr. Roll Up? Well, first thing first. For a child to do what he did in this situation over a girl, let's start here. Like I said, I'm targeting you YNs. So tap in. Tap the fuck in. All right. Like I said, with this whole situation was about a girl, right? Do you know that most gang members, gang bangers, they start they beefs with each other because of a female? Do you know that that's how most people get killed over a female? Real talk. Let me put it like this. To all the gang members and shit like that be getting into it over these females, 90% of them guys, they grew up without a father. That's why they so emotional. That's why they so quick to kill some shit. Always want to fight, always angry, always mad. Because they grew up without a father. You know what I'm saying? Let me relate the whole O Block 63rd with this situation real quick. Since everybody know about that beef and all of that, do y'all know that beef started over a girl? Yeah. O Block versus 63rd, that started over a girl. A lot of niggas done died behind that shit. A lot of people done went to jail, all type of shit. It wasn't no win on either side. Both of them took L's at the L's at the L's. And it all started over a woman. Now, if you go back and you look at most of them guys, they didn't grow up with their father. They probably know who their father is, you know what I'm saying? But they didn't grow up with their father. Now, let's correlate everything. What I got to say about these young guys growing up without a father. Because I am one that grew up with my father. So I get it. I understand what's going on. In my hood, when I was growing up, literally 9 out of 10 guys that was from my hood did not grow up with a father. I was literally one of the very few guys that grew up in my whole neighborhood with a father. When I was younger, the guys in the hood, they used to laugh at me because I had a daddy. They thought it was funny that I had a daddy. You know what I'm saying? Literally on the corner of my block where I stayed at, where me and my boys used to post up at and all of that shit, right? I stayed the second house off the corner. The basically like the corner house, it wasn't a house there. It was just a field. You know what I'm saying? My daddy, he had bought a baseball and some mittens, baseball mittens. He used to take me to that field every day when I was like 7, 8 years old. He used to take me to that field every day and play baseball with me. We used to be playing catch. He'd throw the ball up high as hell in the air, come back down and catch it and shit. You know, we did shit like that. And all the young gangbangers in the hood that was walking around and shit, they thought that shit was funny. They like, this nigga got a daddy and they playing catch. That's some white boy shit. You know what I'm saying? They thought that shit was funny. That I had a daddy and that he was active in my life. You know what I'm saying? My daddy kept being consistent with the baseball playing. We'd do this at least once a week, sometimes twice a week, depending on the time that he had. You know what I'm saying? We used to do this shit every week. It started getting to a point where them same guys that was laughing at me, they used to come around on them days at that time that they knew that I'd be out there with my daddy. They started coming around and they'd stop on the sidewalk and they'd just stand there and just be watching us play baseball because they didn't have it in their life. You know what I'm saying? It went from them talking about me, going to school, clowning me in school, all of that, to them turning around, standing there in the field watching me and my daddy play catch. Me and my daddy, we'd play catch for about an hour every time we come out and do that, right? They would stand there for a whole hour and watch me and my daddy playing catch. By this time, me and my daddy, we looking at each other. My daddy like giving me that look like, hey, I told you. You know what I'm saying? Cause at first I hated that shit. Like, this is what white boys do. I don't play catch. Like, what is this? You know what I'm saying? But then I started liking it, you know? And I'm noticing that these same guys from the hood that didn't have a daddy, they over here watching too. Not only that, it went from them watching to they want to chime in. Hey, can I see your baseball meeting? Can I play catch with your daddy? Dang, your daddy throw the ball up high as hell. Like, how do you do that? Can I catch the ball when it come down? Sure. I'm giving them my mitten and everything. My daddy playing with them just like how he played with me. Do you know that these same guys that used to talk about me, they would come to my house and be knocking on the door. Hey, y'all coming out and play baseball today? We want to play with y'all. Do you know, I didn't spoke on this before, but I'm correlating everything. Just stick with me. I know I get to derailing, but I make everything make sense. You know what I'm saying? With that being said, right, let me throw this in there too. When my mom and my daddy used to get into arguments, my daddy, he'd say what he got to say and he'd be done with it. You know what I'm saying? How you know, Mr. Roll I was their kid. These my biological parents. These ain't step parents, half parents, adopted parents, none of that. These are my biological parents. I was the only child for 10 years straight. I got a little brother, that's it. You know what I'm saying? He came 10 years later, type shit. So I was the only child for 10 years straight. So you know I done heard and seen everything that my parents done went through. You know what I'm saying? Even after my brother was born. I'm just saying before he was born. You know what I'm saying? Anytime my parents would get into it, my daddy would say what he say. And he'd be done with it. If my mama kept going back and forth with him, He'd just look at her. He'd hit her with this look. And she'd keep going, yap, 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 yap. You know what he'd do? My daddy, he was a big time beer drinker and cigarette smoker. That's what my daddy did. He didn't smoke weed, he ain't drink liquor, none of that. It was just beer and cigarettes. That was his thing. Now in his younger days, he smoked weed and shit like that. But when he got older, he stopped with the weed because he became a bus driver. I told y'all about that shit. So he had to stop smoking weed. So it was just cigarettes for him. Cigarettes and beer. That was his thing, right? With that being said, my daddy used to keep cases of beer in the basement. Cases. Yes, he bought them by the cases, right? His favorite was Budweiser, the red and white Budweiser, whatever that shit is. I don't drink beer. I don't know. I'm just going off memory. I remember they being like a red box type shit. You know what I'm saying? And he also liked the Heineken. So he had a red Budweiser, the green Heineken. He'd have a good 10 cases, 5 and 5 stacked up at all times, right? Type shit. With that being said, him and my mama get to going at it, and he don't want to, you know what I'm saying? He'll run right downstairs, grab a case of beer. Sometimes grab 1 and 1. Come up the stairs with his case of beer or 2 cases of beer. You know what he'd do after that? My mama's still going off. He didn't went and grabbed his beer. He came up the stairs. Now he going in the freezer. What's in the freezer, Mr. Roll Up? Well, my daddy used to buy cartons of cigarettes too. My daddy, he wasn't one of them buy a can of beer and a couple of Lucy's. My daddy, he was coming by the cartons, the boxes, all of that. My daddy, he bought shit in bulk. My mama had put my daddy up on Sam's Club, got him a membership. The nigga went in there, he seen how the shit was coming in bulk, went crazy. So he was buying everything by the bulk type shit, right? Well, anyway, with that being said, he hit the freezer, get him a pack of cigarettes out the freezer. He'd have a whole carton of cigarettes, like he'd have the whole shelf filled with fucking cigarettes. My daddy is the only person I knew that froze cigarettes. If y'all do it or y'all know people that do it, y'all know what the fuck I'm talking about. Still to this day, I ain't never met nobody that froze their cigarettes. My daddy, that was his thing. He kept them motherfuckers fresh. You know what I'm saying? All right, nah. Anyway, with that being said, he got his beer, his cigarettes. He'll walk out the house, go straight to his boy house. Mind you, this is what I'm seeing on a regular. You know what I'm saying? My daddy never put his hands on my mama. And he didn't even go back and forth with the arguing shit. I'm making all of this make sense. Just follow. You know what I'm saying? Nah. He'll leave. He'll go over his boy house. His boy name is Rick. My daddy and Rick worked at the same job together. So they ended up becoming cool like that. They became boys off the clock. Just so happened, Rick stayed like 5 or 6 blocks away from us in the same neighborhood, but a couple blocks over. Rick had 2 sons and 2 daughters that I grew up with, and I didn't spoke on them. The 2 sons, they was a part of the Vice Lord side, you know what I'm saying? But this was before that side picking shit happened, you know what I'm saying? So I grew up with them. So this is why me and the 5, this is why we cool, but we don't, you know what I'm saying? Because of shit like this. Because my daddy and his daddy, they was boys. You know what I'm saying? And them guys that I'm talking about, they like pretty much ran that shit. You know what I'm saying? So this is why me and the Vice Lords, we never like really went there. Because we got ties from being kids type shit. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, with all that being said, my daddy would go over there to Rick house. His name Rick, my daddy friend. You know what I'm saying? My daddy would go over Rick house with the cigarette and the beers, right? He'd go over there, they'd watch the game. You know what I'm saying? Get fried as hell, watch the game. Now, Rick had a wife, right? Well, they still married to this day. You know what I'm saying? Back in that time, to all the gangsters talking to y'all right about now, y'all know what's up. Back in our time, y'all know our parents was cool as hell. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody was everybody. It was to a point where your neighbor could whoop your kid ass. You know what I'm saying? And your neighbor would tell you like, "Hey, I had to pop your kid. Your kid was out here tripping," and parents wouldn't even trip. Like everybody was family back then. You know what I'm saying? Type shit. Well, with that being said, the women had respect for the men. So they didn't have men's phone numbers. Like my mama didn't have Rick's phone number. My mama had Rick's wife phone number. So when my daddy would leave and go over Rick's house, if my mama felt any kind of way, she would call Rick's wife. Hey, is my husband over there? Would you woo? Rick's wife would be like, yeah, he over here. They watching the game. I'm frying them some chicken right now. You know, I've been there plenty of times for my mama to call Rick's wife, right? And it's like my mama had like this nervous, um, what can I say, like a nervous condition before she'd make that call because she wouldn't want to hear that my daddy wasn't over there because she'll automatically assume he out with a woman or something like that, right? So she'll like be like her hands be shaking a little bit, you know, her facial expression would change, things like that. Mind you, I'm absorbing all of this shit, right? When she made the call and Rick's wife would say, yeah, he here. It's like my mama whole demeanor a change, be like, wow, okay, cool. Like she happy to know that my daddy is over there, right? So after that, my daddy would be over there for like a few hours. You know what I'm saying? Because basketball, football games, they last for a couple hours. Till the game is over, my daddy be over there till the game over. Drink up all the beers, smoke all the cigarettes, all that shit, right? All that being said, my mama pacing back and forth through the house the whole time. She apologized. I'm like, damn, okay, I fucked up. I shouldn't have kept going back and forth with him. I shouldn't have said this. I shouldn't have got loud like that. Blah, 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 right? I'm there to see this shit. I'm absorbing every fucking thing going on. After my daddy get fried, do what he do, he come on. By this time, my mama upstairs in the bed. My daddy come in, I could smell the beer on him. You know what I'm saying? Like with some daddies, they come in, smell like perfume, smell like another woman or some shit like that. Never, not my daddy, not one time. And he came in and smelled like beer and cigarettes every fucking time. And he'd come in, he'd check the house, he'd go upstairs, downstairs, make sure everything good. And then he'd go lay on the couch in the living room. Because he don't want to go back and forth with my mama. He fried, he good, he checking on the house, making sure we safe. He go lay on the couch in the living room and go to sleep. And it been plenty times I see him in there sleep. And I grab my covers and I throw it over him. It's my daddy. You know what I'm saying? The fuck? So yeah, I always did that for him. And maybe about an hour later, my mama hear him down there snoring and shit like that. She'd come down there, she'd wake him up. Get up. Come on, let's go to bed. Like I said, their room was upstairs. I stayed on the main floor. They stayed upstairs. In the attic, whatever you want to call it, we call it upstairs. You know what I'm saying? They go upstairs. I hear them talking. Mainly my mama doing all the talking. At this point, she apologized. She trying to make everything better. Mind you, they married. They've been together since they was teenagers, all that. So they know each other. You know what I'm saying? Here I am. I'm still absorbing everything. So my mama apologizing to him. They figure all that out. After that, they get to hunching. Then they go to bed. Next day, they wake up. They happy. They fine. They hugging. They kissing. This is what I'm seeing. You know what I'm saying? Like, my daddy was a real fucking daddy. And this is why I grew up to be a masculine man that don't play that. Because I grew up in that kind of household. My daddy never put his hands on my mom. He never hollered at her. He never did none of that. My daddy said what he said, and if she opposed to it, he'll leave. And come back a couple hours later to an apology. And they'll figure it out, and move right the fuck along. You know what I'm saying? I said all that to say this. Fellas, stay in your kid life. Because if you don't, this is the kind of result that you're going to get out your kid. Where your kid is going to prison for 80 fucking years of his life. Because he didn't grow up with a strong father in his background. Now, with this teenager, I can't say for sure if he did grow up with a daddy or not. I wasn't there. I don't know. But if he did, I'm going to say this. He wasn't no strong daddy. He wasn't no daddy that put his foot down. He wasn't no active father. He wasn't none of that. If he did have a father around, he wasn't no strong father. Because if he was, guess what? A strong father wouldn't even have let him went to school with a gun in the first fucking place. How about that? Do you know that me absorbing everything that I did over the years scared the shit out of me? Like I wouldn't even touch a gun because I knew that if my daddy knew that I had a gun, that nigga would kill me. I used to steal a couple of dollars out his pocket and he'd come up to the school and come get me and beat the shit out of me, make me strip butt naked, pull his belt off. Have you ever been whooped by a belt butt naked? I don't think so. How about that? So I know damn well if I was out here at 16 years old with a gun, going to school with it and all of that shit, my daddy found out, that nigga would kill me. So I didn't play them games. Like, no. My daddy displayed to me over the years, like, nigga, try it if you want to. You know what I'm saying? So my point of all of that is like I said to the fellas, man, stay in your kid's life and make a hell of a difference, man. Like, it really fucking do. My daddy stopped beating my ass when I turned like 15, 16 years old. Every time I get in trouble in school, my daddy was very active with everything I had going on. This is why I'm saying this. This is why I'm saying that he didn't have a strong father in his life. And this is why I'm trying to tell y'all to be parents to your kids, right? My daddy was very active in my life with everything. All of my parent-teacher conferences, all of that shit. My daddy was so tied in with the schools I went to, he had certain teachers that he fucked with. And he gave them his personal phone number. He would say, hey, this nigga get to acting up, call me. Call my cell phone. I'm coming. I will leave work and come get this nigga. Call me personally. His cell phone number was 721-6986. Never forget. My daddy been gone, what's this, 25? He died in 13. He been gone 12 years. Been gone 12 years. And I still remember his phone number like it's nothing. Because he used to tell the teachers his number like, call me. Call me. He acted up, call me. You know what I'm saying? That's a real father. And when you had that going on, you ain't about to come to school with no gun. Man, please, what? Nigga, daddy gonna kill me. You know what I'm saying? Let alone do something with this motherfucker. Daddy gonna kill me if he know I got one. Another thing with that, my daddy, he used to go through my room all the time. My daddy was like correctional officers in prison. Like in prison, how they do strip searches of your room. They just tear your shit up, random searches. That's how my daddy used to fuck my room up. He used to fuck my room up to the point to let me know that he went through my shit and tore my shit up. My bed, it won't even be on the frame no more. The bed be on the floor somewhere. You know what I'm saying? I come in from being outside or at school, whatever. Bed is on the floor. Toy box flipped over. Even though I wasn't big on toys and no shit like that, but that was just from when I was younger. You know what I'm saying? I kept my toy box. I didn't use it. Just saying. Like my toy box was in the room. That bitch be flipped over. Shit everywhere. You know what I'm saying? All my file paperwork, all that shit fucking rambled through. My daddy will let me know he went through my shit. My daddy wasn't no sneaky motherfucker. He let me know he went through my shit. You know what I'm saying? So With all that being said, he showed what a strong father is. And I would never play no games with him like that because I know he gonna catch it. He gonna find out. He was too active with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I had a gun, I would have to leave that shit outside somewhere. And I had to be careful with that because my daddy was very active with lawn care. You know what I'm saying? Like, he loved his house. So, like, I couldn't even have a gun around the house. Like, no. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's almost gone. We gonna finish this, roll up, pull up. We gonna do this. Cause this some strong shit. It's sad, man. And like I said, all the the killers in my hood that grew up without a father, all them niggas is grown and they emotional. You know what I'm saying? They quick to shoot some shit. They quick to kill some shit because they didn't have a strong father in their presence like that. My homeboy Flash, I told y'all about, stay right across the street from me. We've been boys since we was 5 years old, no lie. In and out his house, he be in and out my house. We brothers, real shit. He grew up with his daddy. Me and him, we was two of the very few of the whole hood that had fathers. And guess what? Flash grew up to be a whole ass man as well. His daddy and my daddy was boys. You know what I'm saying? It was just that Rick was his best friend. But Flash and my daddy, them niggas was like this too. My daddy was a street nigga. That's just what he was. You know what I'm saying? So my daddy had boys everywhere. You know what I'm saying? I told you it was a point in time when my daddy used to have one of his boys riding around the hood because I'd be on punishment, right? They put me on punishment, they be at work. While they at work, I'm outside. I'm supposed to be on punishment, but I go outside. He started having one of his boys riding around the hood looking for me. While he at work, acting like they just at work and shit, he got one of his homeboys riding around the hood looking for me. And his homeboy used to catch me all the time, like crazy. And I never knew how I was getting caught until one day I was on the block. When I was supposed to be on punishment, I'm on the block, right? His homeboy rolled down the side street because I said we used to post up on the corner. So we got cars coming up the side street. We got cars coming up our main block. So we see cars all over the fucking place because we on the corner, right? Just so happened one day we on the corner. I'm supposed to be in the house on punishment. My parents at work, right? His homeboy came riding down the street, stopped at the stop sign, and looked at me and peeled off. I'm like, I'm telling Flash, I'm like, hey, that's my daddy homeboy. You know what I'm saying? Right after that, I was like, you know what? Let me go home, man. Something don't feel right. At this point, I was probably like 14, 15, some shit like that, right? I know what time they get off work. I know what time they come home. So I know when to run back in the house before they show up. You know what I'm saying? This one of them times when they good and they work. So I'm on the block, right? Like I said, his homeboy rolled past, rolled off. I tell Flash, I'm like, dog, I'm about to go in the house because back in that time, we operated off the house phones. Nowadays it's cell phones and all that type of shit, right? Back then it was house phones, right? I go in the house, I check the house phone, see the missed calls or anything like that, see if it was him calling. Sure enough, that day when I seen his boy and I went in the house, it was a missed call from my daddy. He literally had just called. So I called him back. I'm like, what's up? I was in the bathroom. He like, why the fuck you lying to me? You was outside, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, damn, man. He like, when I get home, I'm gonna beat your ass. Man, I was so hurt. Like, damn, I got caught. You know what I'm saying? And sure enough, when he came home, he beat the shit out of me. You know what I'm saying? How about that? Around that time, I started feeling myself. I'm up a couple of fights. I done whooped a bunch of niggas' asses at this point. I got my respect out here. I'm starting to feel like I'm a man, about 15, 16 at this point, right? So I got into it with my daddy one time. I'm face to face with him. Mind you, like I said, I got my respect out here. So now I'm feeling like my daddy need to respect me as well, like the streets respect me. You know what I'm saying? That nigga hit me in my shit one day. Bah! We got into it. He hit me in my shit. Boom. Nigga, what the fuck you talking to? Woo woo. I ate that shit. I stepped to his face. We like chest to chest at this point. My daddy was a little taller than me. You know what I'm saying? So we chest to chest. I'm looking up at him. I'm like, I ain't scared of you. What you want to do? This how I'm talking to my daddy. You know what that nigga did? That nigga hit me again. Bah! Drop my dumb ass. You know what I'm saying? He like, nigga, you still my son. He stood over me. I'm on the ground. He like, nigga, you still my son. I don't give a fuck how old you get or what you think you doing out here. You my motherfucking son. Man, after that, he held me up. It wasn't nothing I could do about it. I just had to respect it. I gave him a hug. I cried about the shit. And I just let it go. After that, my daddy, he stopped whooping me. He gave me my respect as a man just for stepping up to him. He still showed me what time it was, you know what I'm saying? But he gave me my respect just for stepping up to him. This is what a strong father is for these type of moments. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't got a strong father in your life like that, you're not going to be able to express that to him. Meaning, you going to take them emotions out there in the streets and do something crazy out there instead of having that talk in-house with your daddy, where your daddy got to wake you up. Hey, nigga, I don't care how big you got. I don't care how many niggas you got on the block that respect you. I don't care how many fucking fights you had. I don't care who stamp you around this bitch. You still my son, and you gonna do what the fuck I gotta say while you in my household. That was the message my daddy delivered to me that day. And he didn't have to say all that. He hit me one of these. You know what I'm saying? How about that? This is why I'm telling y'all, as men, you don't gotta be no hardcore gangster or nothing like that. Just be consistent in your child's life. It will fuck you up to realize when your child grew up, your child would tell you, hey, Dad, you remember that time you was there for that? It stopped me from doing this. Hey, Dad, you remember that time you was there for that? It stopped me from doing that. And little do you know, you was just being a daddy. And you stopped your kids from doing a lot of shit just because you was consistent. Now, let me relate my kids to this shit. Because y'all know I do reactions off my kids' phone all the time. Look, come on, man, I'm a whole gangster. You think this is my shit? Y'all know this ain't my shit. You know what I'm saying? My kids, they 10 and 8 at this point, right? I got my kids, they cell phones when they was 5 and 3. You do the math. That means they done had cell phones for the past 5 years. I buy all of their phones. I buy them new phones every year. I pay their bill every month. They never missed a phone bill in the past 5 years they've been active. Never, not one time. They phone lines, all of that shit is connected to my shit. So basically, they phones and all phones, tablets. I got 5 lines on my phone line. Only one of them is mine. The other 4 is theirs. They 2 cell phones, they 2 tablets. You know what I'm saying? So most of my phone bill is they shit. Do you know my oldest? She came to me, my 10-year-old, right? She came to me about 2 weeks ago. She said, Daddy, I need to tell you something. I said, what's up? She got to crying instantly. I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck is going on now? She said, I have a boyfriend. Fuck you mean you got a boyfriend? I struck on her instantly. Fuck is you talking about? You know what I'm saying? She like, no, Dad, it's not like that. I met him off the internet. I'm like, so you never seen this guy? You don't know what he looked like? Nothing? No. I just met him off the internet. She told me what it was. She met him. I don't remember. I'm not into all of this shit. You know what I'm saying? But she told me where she met this, internet guy from or whatever. You know, I'm like, tell me everything because this is my phone line. I could pull all that shit up. I could find out what he. Tell me everything. She like, Dad, I'm not lying to you. We just got a couple of messages. We went back and forth, and he said he wanted to be my boyfriend. And I said, okay. I instantly cut that off. Psh, that's over with. You know what I'm saying? And if I find out anything else, I'm going to cut your line off. No, Daddy, don't do that. I don't want no problem. This is why I came and talked to you about it. You know what I'm saying? I just use that as an example. Like I'm saying, like you being there in a life, you being consistent will make your kids talk to you because they understand that you are there. Even if you're not the most hardcore parent, you ain't down their throat about everything, just you being consistent. Now me, on the other hand, no, I'm hardcore. I'm with all this shit. I don't play with my kids. I don't. I might not post them. I might not have them in my videos and doing all. I might not do all of that. But Mr. Roll Up is very, very fucking active with my kids on a day to day. I don't play that. You know what I'm saying? How about that? And I got daughters. I done told y'all my baby mama, she signed them over to me and everything. You the better parent, go ahead. Most women don't even do that, especially knowing how these men touch on their kids and do weird shit like that. But my baby mama already know I ain't coming like that. That's why she signed them over to me. And my kids know how I'm coming. You know what I'm saying? So when they got something serious going on, they know to tap in with me. Hey, we don't play that over here. Tap in. Tap the fuck in. You know what I'm saying? How about that? So when my daughter coming to me and telling me that, it made me feel good on the inside. It made me look up to the sky and tell my daddy, like, hey, I salute you for that. That was my daddy. That wasn't my mama, that was my daddy. You know what I'm saying? That was because of how hard my daddy was on me. How my daddy played that shit with me. My daddy wasn't coming like that at all. You know what I'm saying? Man, look, let me keep it a band. Again, I don't lie on the dead. And this is my daddy. You know what I'm saying? When my daddy was mad, his eyes would turn red. Like some devil shit. I swear to God, anybody on this channel that know my daddy, y'all know. When my daddy got mad, his eyes turned red. And he didn't smoke no weed. So it wasn't the weed smoke, none of that. That nigga naturally had a red color in his eyes when he got mad. You know what I'm saying? I hated to see that because I knew it was going down. Just the color in his eyes was like, man, damn, I'm in fucking trouble. You know what I'm saying? And this is exactly why I'm saying, like, to everybody that's watching this, man, especially the men. I know us as men, we get come down on real hard all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, the world come down on us very hard as men. But guess what? We didn't sign up for this shit, but we was built for it. You know what I'm saying? How about that? We ain't had to sign up for this shit. We was built for it. We was made, we was created for this shit. You know what I'm saying? So pick yourself up and hit yourself on the chest one time. Hit your heart one time. And stand up. I'm that man that I was created to be. Because you only got one life to live. You only gonna be here one time. So go ahead and execute who you are and who you born to be. The man that you are. Execute that. You know what I'm saying? For the time being, for the time that you're here, execute the man that you are. Channel in on the inside with who you are as a man. to your kids. You know what I'm saying? How about that? Got about another sip of this motherfucker. Told you we gonna finish this. You know what I'm saying? My daddy, that was a real nigga. And this is why I'm relating this to this situation. To a guy like him, he didn't have one of those in his life. That's why he went to school with a gun. And that's why he shot and killed this boy that was a year younger than him over a girl. A girl that's gonna move on to the next guy, and the next guy, and the next guy, and the next guy. And guess what? One guy is dead, one guy is in jail for the rest of his life behind this girl that's gonna move on and do her for the rest of her life. And she probably ain't gonna tell nobody else about this situation. It's gonna get swept under the rug. Hey, that happened when we was 15, 16 years old. Now, I don't got nothing to do with nothing now. But guess what? That 16-year-old, he about to be in prison for the rest of his life. And that 15-year-old is dead and gone. And the girl, she don't got to speak on it. She don't got to tell none of her dudes, upcoming dudes, last dude, this dude, blah, 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 blah. She don't got to tell none of them that. Whatever. As you can see on the video, her face wasn't in the video. Her name wasn't brought up. None of that. They just said it was over a girl. It could be any girl. She don't got to bring it up. Do you think in 20 years from now, when she get married and up 4 or 5 kids or something, do you think she gonna be telling her husband about this? I could just about guarantee you the husband won't know. You know what I'm saying? How about that? Fellas, stay in your kid's life. Because just like I said, a lot of the killers that I grew up with in my hood, they ain't have a father. And that's why they killers. Killers don't just become killers because that's just street shit. Most of them become killers because they didn't grow up with a father. That's just the truth. You know what I'm saying? You can swallow it however you want to. You can go about it however you want to. You can say whatever the fuck you want. Again, I grew up in a hood full of niggas that didn't have a father. And this is their outcome. They're killers. They kill shit. And they killing shit, that don't make you gangster on no level. I could hand my 10-year-old a gun right now. Go ahead, whack him. You think she not? You must be crazy. My 10-year-old or my 8-year-old will smoke any nigga for me. How about that? Any motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Without hesitation. I can say, I can hand them that shit right now and say, do it. They gonna do it right then and there. Do that make them gangster? Well, my kids didn't grow up in the hood at all. My kids grew up in the suburbs their whole life. Yeah, they done been in Detroit 1,000 times. They go to Detroit all the time. That's not where they reside. That ain't how they grew up. That ain't the schools that they go to. None of that. My kids, they prissy girls. You know what I'm saying? They girly girls. For real. Real talk. But if I tell my 10-year-old, hey, look, I ain't gonna do it. Here, you do it. Off that nigga. Right now. Here you go. She gonna pull that trigger faster than I could finish saying what I gotta say. So all that shooting and killing shit, that don't make you gangster. You know what I'm saying? Anybody can do that. What make you gangster is being able to walk away from a situation that could take your life. That's what make you gangster. You know what I'm saying? It's gone now. You know what I'm saying? How about that? Nah. Let me finish this shit up, man. Like I said, this targeting the YNs, man. I'm targeting y'all, man. And I know y'all might be like, hey, I'm the same way. I don't got no strong daddy like what you had. I didn't grow up like that. I don't have that in my life, right? Well, let me tell you like this. I get it. I understand. 100%. I do. I grew up in a hood full of guys that didn't have a father. I get it. You know what I'm saying? But let me tell you like this. I know that you used to growing up and your mother was the strong person. Your mother was the father and the mother of the situation. I get it. I understand. I feel it. You know what I'm saying? Again, I didn't live, well, not necessarily say live, but I didn't definitely then being in and out of households that don't have a father figure there. So I get what y'all are going through. Y'all so used to your mother hollering and screaming at you for not cutting the grass, not washing the dishes, not cleaning the house up. You know what I'm saying? For writings on the wall, not having the cordless phone charged up for her by the time she get off work, not having enough food in the refrigerator for her to come in and microwave some shit real quick so she could run to her room and eat something and watch some TV. I understand. Again, I grew up in a household with both of my parents, but I also understand single household families because not only was I raised in a two-parent household, but I was in and out of single parent household. You know what I'm saying? So I get it. I understand 100%. I know what it is. Look, what I was just saying, right, about my daddy and his boy Rick, and I said his sons that I grew up with, they grew up to be on all of that gangbang shit, running shit, blah, blah, blah. Even though they had a two-parent household, do you know that those two guys that I'm talking about, they ain't nothing like the rest of the guys in the hood that didn't grow up with their fathers. Them two guys that I'm speaking on, they grew up with their father, Rick. And they grew up to be real men that raise their kids that's not a part of their gang shit no more. Yeah, they come around and still interact with the guys, but they don't be on it. They whole ass family men, they go home to their family. They might pull up on the block here and there and, laugh it, joke it, blah, 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 chop it up with the guys. They go back home to their family. Why is that? Because they grew up in a strong household with a father that didn't play that. My daddy did not hang around no men that was deadbeats. He didn't do that. So to all the men that he hung around with and did things with, they was very active with their children. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. Them same guys that I'm talking about, they was the leaders of that whole Vice Lord shit. That's the poem, my bad. But them guys that I grew up with, they was the leaders of their crew. They was the leaders of that shit, the five, that side. You know what I'm saying? They was the leaders of that. They grew up to be the leaders of their gang. But guess what? They came and went with that shit so quick. Why? Because they had a strong father in their life that showed them, hey, yeah, this shit cool, but it's temporary. You know what I'm saying? It come and it go. Yeah, it's fun. You got a bunch of niggas you grew up with. Y'all on the same shit. Blah, 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 blah. Y'all wear this flag, that flag, blah, 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 blah. Y'all be with these niggas, that nigga, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, all that shit cool. But at the end of the day, when you grow up to be the man who you are, that shit over with. And in the meantime, you don't do nothing that jeopardizes your life. Because at the end of the day, it don't matter because you underage. That don't necessarily mean you're gonna get a juvenile lifer for your situation. You can end up just like bro, right here. You know what I'm saying? Now, let's go back to dog. I know I went crazy for the past, what, like 30, 40 minutes. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's get back to bro, right? Now, with him, he got sentenced to 80 years in prison. Think about that. That's his maximum, 80 years. So meaning he could do a whole 80 ball off of his time. How old would he be if he do the whole 80? He'd be 96 years old by the time he get out of prison. Meaning he ain't experienced nothing. He ain't did shit. He only 16. What the fuck have he done? He might have got some pussy once or twice. That's about it. He ain't made no money. He ain't took no trips. He ain't started no businesses. He don't got no kids. Nothing. All of that they took from him because he didn't have a strong male figure in his life. You know what I'm saying? He went to school beefing with a nigga about a girl. About a girl. But honestly, that's how most of this gangbanging shit start. It start over a girl. Let's just be real. You know what I'm saying? So he went and did what he did, probably thinking he'd get some juvenile life or shit because he's 16 years old. Woody woo, woody woo. Well, guess what? They wasn't going for that. They said, you know what? Instead of giving him juvenile lifer, let's give him 80 years. How about that? Because if you look at the beginning of the video, it said that they gave him life. They did. But they suspended it. They suspended the charges for him basically to do 80 years in prison. Why did they suspend it, Mr. Rolla? Why did they suspend a life sentence? Because if they would have gave him a life sentence due to the law and how the way the law is set up, if they would have gave him life, he would have got out on juvenile lifer. Mm-mm. See, everybody don't get juvenile lifer. This is why I'm making this video. This is why I had to cut out the whole parole hearing. You know what I'm saying? To go ahead and bring some attention to this situation right here to let y'all know. Like, the parole board don't let everybody out. And this is a clear-cut example of it. Besides the parole hearing that I'm bringing to y'all, this is a situation right here of a juvenile lifer thinking that maybe he gonna get some leniency because he's not an adult. No, not every kid get that. It depends on your situation. Sometimes if you had to defend yourself as juvenile, you can get juvenile life. In this case, he didn't defend himself. What he did was he knew that he was getting into it with this guy, whatever the case was. He probably couldn't beat him up or whatever was going on. So he felt like, you know what, I'm going to just kill this nigga. And that's what he did. He like, you know what, I'm still in high school. I can get out on juvenile life. No. No. You fucked up, homeboy. You did this in a public place in front of everybody. It might have been a lot of people in the bathroom with you or none of that, but this is a public place that's active with a bunch of people there. You can't do that. No, it don't work like that. So the way how they looked up his case, they said, "Oh, okay, we ain't gonna give him the juvenile lifer because he be out in a couple of years, meaning he ain't learned nothing." And with this long list of records of him getting in trouble, he ain't learned shit. So this is what we gonna do for him. We gonna give him 80 years in prison. Because we give him life, again, due to the law, he'd be out in a couple of years on the juvenile, he'd be out in a couple of years on the juvenile lifer. So we ain't gonna give him life. We gonna give him 80 years. You know what I'm saying? That's how the system works. When you try and play with them because you're young and you think you can do this because you're young, they got a setup for you. You know what I'm saying? And with that being said, they gave him a sentence of 80 years. That's his maximum. Now his minimum is like 40 years, meaning he can see the parole board in 40 years, right? How many of these parole hearings have I done covered with y'all, and y'all seen that they came back on a parole hearing years before they actual out date? The parole board comes see you 6 months before your out date. You know what I'm saying? But you got some people that keep on sending kites to the parole board. Hey, I want to get out. I did this and that. Can y'all come see me? Blah, 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 right? Type shit. And sometimes guys get called back, even though they get denied, you know what I'm saying? But it's just a part of the system. It's called on the record. If you have been in court, they got a thing called on the record and off the record. If you be in court long enough, you will hear them say, hey, this is off the record. Blah, 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 blah. All right, back on the record. And then they finish off going on what they talking about. That's just how it go. Real shit. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, he thought shit was gonna be sweet. It wasn't. Mm-mm. You killed this 15-year-old in a high school bathroom where anybody could have been in or anybody could have walked in. And you killed him in front of everybody. Yeah, that's how they look at it. It's in front of everybody. Regardless if it was in the bathroom, it's in a public place. It was in front of everybody. Because anybody could have walked in during the shooting, after the shooting, whatever. It's a public place. Full of teenagers at that. Not adults, teenagers. You know what I'm saying? Nah, you ain't get no juvenile lifer. Nah. Do you know, besides the life sentence, they could say, you know what? Fuck a life sentence. We could just give you 99 years, 100 years, 105 years. I done seen somebody get sentenced to 115 years. You know what I'm saying? Real shit. Knowing that they not going to be here in no 115 years. But just so they can't get juvenile lifer, 115 years. Well, this guy, he got 80 years. So let's do the math. If you do 80 years plus him being 16, that means he'd be 96 by the time he get out of prison. 96 years old. How many people live to be 96 years old? Don't get Mr. Roll Up wrong, because it is people out here that live that long. But how many? How many? And by that time, he gonna be soaked up. He gonna be so institutionalized. He not gonna be able to function out here. Just to say, if he do make it that long, he not gonna be able to function out here. He gonna be begging for them to keep him in the joint. His 3 hots in the cot, his commissary whenever he get it, walking around the yard, the bag 40, and all of the people that he been locked up with for the past 80 years. That's what he know. He can't come back out here in the world and function. It's not gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? Nah. Let's just say on a smaller scale, what they said that he eligible to see the parole board in 40 years, right? Instead of the 80 years, he eligible to see them in 40 years. This is why I'm coming with this, right? He could see the parole board in 40 years, right? When he see them, guess what's gonna happen? Flop, 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 flop. They could flop his ass from that 40 years up into 80 years. Or they can grant him parole and say, you know what? After 40 years, we felt like you learned your lesson, you completed all the programs, blah, 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 blah. All right, we give you a parole. After 40 years. Guess how old he gonna be after 40 years? He will be 56 years old. Meaning he damn near out of there anyway. No disrespect to people in their 50s, 60s, no disrespect. Just saying, he lost most of his life to the penitentiary. Even at that point. You know what I'm saying? And there's no guarantee that he's gonna come. There's no guarantee that he's gonna come. Damn, that's the poem. My bad. There's no guarantee that he's gonna come home on that 40 years. And this is why I do parole reactions, so y'all can understand. Like, yeah, they might say this in court, But when they go to the parole board, it ain't the same thing. You know what I'm saying? The parole board can say, hey, that 40 years wasn't enough. You know what I'm saying? You killed the 15-year-old in the bathroom over a girl. No, that 40 years ain't enough. Flop, flop, flop. Meaning they got another 40 years to flop his ass. And they can. How about that? So if that day ever come, I'm gonna record it. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna do a video. I'm gonna show y'all, like, hey, the parole board don't just let you out because you want to get out. That's not how it go. Programs and all. Sometimes they can say, hey, we just feel like you ain't did enough time for your crime. With you completing the programs and everything and all of that, we felt like you ain't do enough time. Period. Bye. Go back to your cell. How about that? So to end all of this, I said what I had to say, man. As a man, stay in your kid's life, man. Straight up. Because you don't, this can be the outcome. This is all off of emotion. And most of this emotion comes from these guys growing up in single parent household with women that's very emotional. These women, I hate your daddy. I'd kill that nigga if I see him right now. He don't do shit. Fuck him. He a bitch. Blah, blah, blah. This is what they hear all the time. So when they grow up and they get the gang banging, they ready to kill some shit. They emotional because this is what they hear from their mama on a daily basis. You know what I'm saying? So again, to the YNs, I hope y'all understood this. It don't matter how young you is. Your ass can do the rest of your life in prison. They don't give a fuck about you. And to the adults that are fathers, stay in your kid's life. Because if you don't, this is the kind of result you can get out of your child. An 80-year sentence to where you will never see that child again. If you love your kid, stay in your kid life right now before something like this can happen to them. How about that? It's been another episode of Roll Up a Pull Up. So get your blunts rolled and your drink poured.